Hello, friends. Welcome to another episode of Life with Perry Martins. My name is Perry Martins, as you already know, and today we're going to be talking about living. And I'm going to title this discussion "Live a Little." Live a little. And for the first time in my podcast has to do with something about living, about life. And what do I mean by living a little? For someone like me that is an entrepreneur, I started my entrepreneurial journey very early, quite early. I literally didn't have a lot of, work experience. And anybody who has been following my podcast will know that I didn't have a lot of working with other people or working for people. I literally, I didn't do a proper 9 to 5. I don't have a 9 to 5 experience actually. Or I do, but I have a very, very little because I worked with a real estate company. I think that's the closest 9 to 5 I had that was a job before I, became an entrepreneur. And maybe you're like me and you're an entrepreneur and all your life, all your energy has been focused on trying to build a legacy, build a brand, build a business. So you've been building and working, and you don't take out time to live. When I mean take out time to take yourself out, pamper yourself, do yourself some good. You don't do that. You don't take yourself on a trip and just pamper yourself and just do nothing but just gaze into the ocean or gaze into the horizon, sip something chilled and just be happy, right? Sip something chilled and just be happy. Just drop work and go out and enjoy your life and enjoy yourself, right? That is what I mean by living a little. Take a trip. And maybe you are like me, you never had the opportunity to do that. You never had even the money to do that. You literally was living from hand to mouth all through your days. There are so many of us like that who, even right now, you can't even think of buying yourself a clothes. Talk more of taking a trip. And living is the least thing in your mind. You just literally want to survive. It's, because there are two types of existence. There is living and there's surviving. There is living where you are living life, and there's surviving, which is literally existence. You're struggling to exist. And I understand also if you are in this kind of situations, because I was in that kind of situation for the longest time, just trying to build a career, build a business, make a little bit of money, take care of my family members, my mom, my dad, my siblings, pay school fees and all that stuff. And then you just go from there to getting married. Sometimes, talking about marriage, sometimes I feel that I didn't live. I didn't enjoy my youth. Sincerely. I've not told my wife this. But sometimes I feel that I didn't enjoy my youth. I didn't enjoy the days that I was young and I was, young adult. I feel that I didn't enjoy it because I was literally just trying to survive, just trying to keep my head above water. That was what I did. Because right from school, things were bad. Like, things were bad right from school. I was coming out with a qualification and a degree that would literally take me nowhere. Because what I studied, there's no way to practice that kind of thing in Nigeria at the time. So literally anybody that has studied what I studied would have been a lecturer in a school, or you probably need to travel out of the country, or you pivot to another career entirely, because what were you going to use physics and electronics to do in those days, right? And it wasn't like it was core engineering, it was HND, so you were more like a technical person, oil and gas. In those days, it was either you go into oil and gas as a technician, or you go into the telecoms industry, So those were the two industries in those days, and there were few opportunities, and they were hard to get. And I didn't come out with the best of results, so there's no need to boo-boo you guys on that one, right? So I was literally trying to keep my head above water, in all those days, and it hurt me so much, because it hurt my personal growth. It hurt my self-worth. Even till now, sometimes I find myself struggling to really express myself and go out and live and have an existence, right? Or have a life, because I spent all those years struggling with my personality, trying to validate myself. Am I worth it? Am I a failure? I dealt with all of that. But there was something I was doing. I was an avid reader. I was reading books. And in those books that I was reading, they were motivational and inspirational books. Thank God for those books. They helped make me understand that there was more to me than my academic qualification. There was more to me than the amount of money in my bank account. There was more to me than the amount of money I was earning. Because, it was bad. It was bad. Really. It was bad. And I was the one major work I have done, that took most of my time is this gospel music blogging and gospel music media. The one thing I thought I had as a skill, was communication and radio and TV presenting, even though I never got the opportunity to work with a radio station, so I had to go and start my own radio station. Hey God, I beg. I really wanted to work in a radio station. I never got the opportunity to do that. So after I had tried several times, I went to go and start my own online radio, of course. But things were hard. But one thing I kept doing in those seasons and all through my life was I kept giving myself pictures. So I used to buy Ebony magazine, and I used to buy some of those fashion magazines, some of those lifestyle magazines, then GQ. But I bought a lot of Ebony magazine was the magazine for me. I bought a lot of it. Like I bought a lot of it. Whether it was a recent date or it was a later date, I would buy it. And what I was doing is that I was using it to feed my mind. The beautiful pictures, those advert pictures that had the latest cars and the clothes and the well-dressed men. I was feeding. I was broke ass, but I was feeding my mind. I was dreaming, and it didn't just start in the days I was buying Ebony magazine. It started way back before then. It started back when I was in secondary school, that I used to, apply to schools abroad. I didn't have Shingbai to pay for those school fees if they give me admission, but I would just apply, and then they will send me the school prospectus. That big, booklet that schools abroad will send to you those days. I would apply, and they would send me those books, those prospectus. So the prospectus is basically a brochure of the school, just looking at those nice environment and the happy students. Just give me a sense of I'll make it. I'll be successful. One day I'll get out of this hellhole. I'll become something. So just those were how I kept giving myself pictures of hope and success. Despite the situation I was in, I could barely eat. My parents could barely eat. We were flat out broke, and some of these times were when I was in Lagos. Another thing I did, I watched movies. And in those movies, I was careful about the movies I watched. I watched all those movies that had lifestyle. So as I'm watching the movie, I'm noticing how they eat, how they talk, how they dress. So I watched those lifestyle movies, that had the latest cars and the beautiful houses, beautiful interior. Those movies that they really pay attention to the lifestyle details. The clothing that all the actors and actresses wore, the cars they drove, the etiquette, those general lifestyle thing, right? I was feeding on those things. I was feeding on them. So to the point that I learned how to use fork and spoon by just watching movies. I've never had to use or learn how to use fork and spoon in my entire life. I had to learn it from movies. So movies played a major role in forming who I was. I didn't go to any Ivy League school, right? And every time people get to know where I come from, they tell me, you don't sound like them. Yes, I was watching a lot of movies and I was mimicking so much. And I was careful about the movies I was watching. So all of these were changing, despite where I was coming from. All of those things were changing my life and changing my understanding and changing my perspective. And despite the fact that I was in a dark place, I saw hope and I saw light. Above all, in all of these things, I had God. I had God. I trusted God. I still trust Him. I love Him. He was the hope. Jesus was the hope for me at the time until now. So as I'm walking down this street in Dubai, looking at all these lights and this beautiful, well-manicured garden and this really lovely street called City Walk. If you know City Walk in Dubai, you can Google it. It's a lovely place. It just begins to remind me of all the things I was seeing in the magazines, in the Ebony magazine and all those lifestyle magazines, because these were pictures I had in my mind and in my head. These were pictures that gave me hope that I can become whatever I set my mind on to do. So we are talking about living a little. So what was I doing? When I started getting small money, I started with the small ones like Mr. Biggs. You just go in there and buy something that is unusual and eat. I remember that I used to go to Eco Hotel and Suites from my house in Ikoton. I'll go to Eco Hotel and Suites and just go in there, sit by one of the bars and order Coke that they sell 15 naira outside. They'll sell it for 200 in Eco Hotel and Suites those days. And I'll buy it and just sit down there and just take in the atmosphere. Take in the atmosphere. Sometimes I would just, and these things are things that happen once in a blue moon. It's not like they're regular. Once in a blue moon. Maybe all through those days of my life, I probably went to a hotel like maybe twice to do that thing. But I had to do it because it gave me hope. It restored my soul, if I could use that word. It restored my soul. It gave me something to look up to, that yes, one day it go better. Right? And I remember that part of the reason why I was attending House on the Rock Church was that same reason. to just be around inspiring people. To just be around inspiring people, just to be around. Not necessarily, I'm not interested in who was coming to church or what, but I just wanted to be around the type of persons I want to be like, right? And I know that is the story of a lot of people, right, in Lagos. And I mean now that House on the Rock model has spread all over Nigeria. So you can have that experience in so many places, so many states around. But those days, though for me, what took me to House on the Rock wasn't really Pastor Paul and the fine people, the rich people. No, what took me to House on the Rock was the word. Bishop T.D. Jakes, actually. So those days, I used to listen to Bishop T.D. Jakes a lot, even before I knew that House on the Rock existed. Way back in school, we used to feed Bishop Noah Jones, Bishop T.D. Jakes, Juanita Bynum. Those were the three preachers that we were listening to back in those days. We listened to them a lot. So it was in one of those manpower programs of Bishop T.D. Jakes that we saw Pastor Paul and difference in that, this guy is close to Bishop Jakes, he drinks from that well, why not? Come on. So when I went to Lagos, I saw an advert on the paper that says, House on the Rock is House on the Rock, Bishop Jakes' son. And then we I went there. What am I saying? Live a little. Once in a while, take that your 2K, 3K, right? Go somewhere inspiring. Do something inspiring, something that paints a picture in your head. Because every time I look at where I am now, I'm very certain that it has a lot to do with what I was feeding my mind and myself. I had every reason to fail. Trust me, I had every reason to fail. Because nobody was helping. The only son. No, but there was no help. And I know that there are several other people who this is their story, but mine is unique and different, and that's why I'm telling it. And I'm telling it to inspire someone out there who is, listening to me, or who this podcast will come across to. You can dream. You can dream, and you can become. And life is not stagnant. Life is moving. You need to learn how to move with the tide. If you move with the tide, you will come back with a testimony. You will encounter help. The woman I married, it was because of the church I was attending. And she literally came in. She literally came in and changed so many things. Like, because of her, so many things changed in my life. And but the thing is, if it were not for what I had already taught myself and built myself up and had prepared myself, she wouldn't have found anything inspiring about me. Because my wife she's a stickler for excellence. She's babe. She's like, she's amazing, right? As in, she's not my level at all. Like at all. There's no level. Guess what? But I carry God on my inside. And God had taught me, the Spirit of God had taught me over the years how to put myself together. How to be learned, how to be intelligent, how to speak, how to talk, how to act. So that despite how broke I was, there was Ororo oil in my life. There was oil in my life. There was anointing. Even though in all of that, sometimes I would have felt empty, broke. One of my pastor friend would say brocade, the kind of brokenness. But there was anointing. There was grace. And that grace caused us to learn things, to be conversant, to learn, so that when you sit down with someone, you have an intelligent discussion. You'll be able to have an intelligent discussion and be able to sit down and relate, to the point that if I sit down with you and we are discussing, and then you are not intelligent, you're not conversant with times and seasons and what is happening in life. I have a way not to be interested in whatever you're trying to say or do again. So, leave a little. Grow yourself, groom yourself, build yourself. Build yourself, groom yourself. Men, groom yourself. You might be like me. Your father didn't really teach you a lot about being a man. There are other men out there that are good examples. Dress properly from your inside to the outside. It's not that you buy new shirt and new trousers, but your pants is torn or your dress is torn. From your inside to your outside. Dress properly. Smell good. Even if it's your cheap perfume, spray it with honor. Starch your shirt. Woo! Starch your shirt and look like it. Everybody is forming. You're not the only person that is for. Every other person out there is forming. They are either forming in their spirit, or they are forming in their soul, or they are forming in their body. Somewhere in the three, they are forming. Leave a little. If you have the money, travel. Take yourself out. There's something that traveling does. It opens your eyes. Let me say this, right? When I came here to the United Arab Emirates, right? Okay, let me talk about hotel. So we spent about 5 months in a hotel, living good. Like, it wasn't living really nice, right? But this was something, and the hotel we stayed in was 5-star. This was something that back in Lagos, I would travel all the way from Ikotun to a hotel just to sit down and spend my small 1K to just have that feel. 5 months doing, every early morning breakfast, all the mende. You get what I'm saying? And you had all these lovely, wonderful people around, people from different parts of the world. People from the UK, the US, China, all over Europe, wealthy, influential people, so all of that. And in all of that, we didn't fall our hand, because we had been learning how to live that life. We have been learning how to live that life, how to have intelligent discussion with people, have global perception, insight, so that when it was time to showcase all of that, we had already gathered enough. Prepare yourself so that when God takes you to a place, you won't fall hand. You will be prepared. You will be prepared, and you will be ready. Prepare yourself. Don't be waiting till you get to your place of blessing before you now begin. No. Prepare yourself for, prepare yourself for the blessing, so that when the blessing comes, you can just slip in seamlessly. But if you do not prepare yourself, groom yourself, teach yourself, you will discover that when the blessing comes, when the breakthrough comes, you won't know how to deal. Like even me right now, because I didn't take myself out a lot, to now take my wife out now I have to intentionally get myself to know that you need to take the lady out. You need to spoil her. Because I spent the majority of my life hustling, working, trying to prove myself, put food on the table. So leave a little. In your struggle, in your hustle, leave a little. Do like me. If you're living the life already, God bless you. You are good. But be intelligent. Be conversant with, global affairs, international affairs, local affairs. Be able to have intelligent, smart discussion with people. Be vast in your knowledge, so that if you ever get to travel or be in a place with people, you'd be able to have intelligent discussions with them. You'll be able to, not have inferiority complex, because that's part of what people suffer. So you go to a place and you discover that, these are, brilliant people, or, sometimes everybody, listen, there are brilliant people out there, but the majority are not brilliant. But the thing is, because you are looking at them and they are Igbo people, and you are African, you now feel an inferiority. You feel that you are inferior. You feel that they are better than you. But it's when you travel, you will know that you have something. You carry, like we say, you have something. So trust me. When you go out, the way we back home we see white people and people from other countries are, they are this, they are that, they are. Trust me, when you now get close, you see that your mama born you well. You have done a good job on yourself. So don't let that stop you. Don't let that stop you. Build yourself. Build yourself. Build yourself. Build yourself. Build yourself. Groom yourself. Look the part. Dress the part. Don't wait till all the money comes into your pocket before you feel that you can now. No. Do it. Become it. As you do and become, the opportunities will come your way and you will fit in seamlessly. So this is my discussion this evening. I don't know if it has blessed you. I shared a bit about myself and I shared a bit about other people. If what I'm saying doesn't inspire you, it's okay. But if what I'm saying inspired you, then go ahead, use it in your life. Thank you for listening to me this evening. My name is Barry Martins. Have an amazing day ahead of you. Bye.